Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Anime Octopus, and you're now tuned into a space where we explore some of the most exciting what-if anime scenarios and fanfiction concepts. Today's topic is a powerful one. What if Naruko inherited Madara Uchiha's power? A storyline that reshapes destiny, changes battles, and completely rewrites what we know about strength in the ninja world. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. This content is made strictly for entertainment and discussion purposes only. I do not own any anime footage used in my videos. All rights and credits belong to their respective creators and copyright holders. Now, without further delay, let's dive into the story. Konoha was quiet in the soft light of the evening, the rooftops glowing like warm paper lanterns beneath the sky. In this village, shinobi did not only train their bodies, but also their hearts and minds, learning how perception and reality could shift like water in a cup. Naruko stood at the entrance of the Hokage's tower, her expression calm but focused. She was a young shinobi with remarkable talent, especially in a rare visual chakra ability that allowed her to perceive illusions with unusual clarity. Today was not a battle, but a special evaluation, one that would test how she understood illusion, intention, and control. A gentle voice echoed in her memory, like something she had heard during meditation training. Let go of what holds your thoughts too tightly. When the mind is calm, the world becomes clearer. When the heart is steady, even confusion can become understanding. Naruko closed her eyes for a moment, breathing slowly. Empty your heart, she whispered softly to herself, not as a command, but as a reminder to release worry. Empty your mind, she continued, letting distractions fade like ripples in a pond. Free your spirit to see beyond what seems fixed. When she opened her eyes again, the world felt sharper, as if every detail had meaning waiting to be understood. She stepped forward into the tower. Inside, a group of Onbu instructors waited along the hallway. Their presence was serious but not threatening. They were observers, part of the evaluation. As Naruko approached, they shifted into position, beginning a coordinated illusion exercise designed to test her awareness. One of them raised a hand, and the corridor subtly changed. Walls seemed to stretch longer, and reflections of movement appeared where none existed. It was a carefully crafted illusion meant to challenge perception. Naruko paused. Instead of reacting with urgency, she studied the flow of chakra in the air. Her special eye technique responded gently, revealing the illusion's structure like threads woven into fabric. She did not rush forward. Instead, she extended her awareness and touched the illusion with her perception. This isn't reality, she said quietly, more to herself than anyone else. With a calm motion of her hand, she shaped her chakra into a soft dispersing wave, not to destroy anything, but to gently unravel the illusion like loosening a tied ribbon. The corridor returned to normal instantly, the stretching walls settling back into place. The Onbu instructors nodded, impressed by her control. Good, one of them said. You didn't force it. You understood it. Naruko continued upward. On the next level, the training grew more complex. The space shifted again, creating the impression of multiple paths splitting in different directions. Each path looked real, each one felt convincing. Naruko stood still, observing carefully. She noticed subtle inconsistencies, tiny patterns in light and chakra flow that revealed which paths were real and which were part of the test. She raised her hand again, not to attack or break anything, but to align her chakra with the structure of the illusion. Show me the truth, she said softly. The false paths faded gently, like mist dissolving under morning sun, leaving only the correct staircase leading upward. The instructors above watched quietly. There was no fear in the air, only recognition of skill. Naruko was not overpowering the illusion, she was understanding it so completely that it could no longer remain confusing. Finally, she reached the upper chamber near the Hokage's office. The final instructor stood there, giving her a calm nod. You see beyond appearances, he said. But remember, Naruko, true strength is not only in seeing through illusion. It is also in understanding why illusions exist. Naruko thought about this for a moment, then nodded. I think they exist to help us learn, she replied. Not to trick us, but to teach us how to stay steady even when things are unclear. A soft smile appeared in the instructor's expression. Then you are ready for the next stage of your training. Naruko looked out the window beside her. The village of Konoha stretched peacefully below, alive with light and movement. For her, the world no longer felt like something to escape or dominate. It felt like something to understand, step by step, moment by moment. And with that understanding, she quietly grew stronger. Naruko adjusted her stance at the edge of the corridor, her presence quietly shimmering as she moved between the ordinary world and a soft, luminous space only she could perceive. In this gentle in-between, everything looked calmer, like reflections on still water. She was not there to harm anyone. Naruko never liked conflict. Instead, she had trained her unusual space-shifting ability to guide people safely when situations became overwhelming. As she advanced toward the Hokage's office, she sensed several chakra signatures ahead, ninja stationed as protectors. They were alert and determined, doing their duty with steady courage. "I need to pass through," Naruko said softly, her voice calm and respectful. Before the guards could react with alarm, she lifted her hand slightly. A soft ripple of energy spread through the hallway like a peaceful breeze. In an instant, the guards found themselves gently relocated to a nearby safe resting room, where they would wake soon, unharmed and only slightly confused, as if they had drifted off during a long, exhausting watch. Naruko continued forward, her steps light and unhurried. At the door of the Hokage's office, she paused. The atmosphere inside felt tense, but not dangerous in the way she feared. She could sense a strong-willed presence within, someone cautious, observant, and deeply guarded. When she entered, she found not the Hokage, but an older man seated behind the desk, watching her carefully. His gaze was sharp, as if measuring every word before it could be spoken. Naruko did not draw a weapon. Instead, she met his eyes with quiet focus. "I am Naruko," she said gently. "I'm searching for answers about the Hokage's whereabouts. I don't want conflict. I want to understand what's happening here." The man narrowed his eyes. "And why should I believe you?" Naruko took a slow breath. The special ability in her eyes awakened, not to control, but to understand. It allowed her to perceive emotions and intentions like colors in the air. When she looked at him this way, she didn't see an enemy. She saw someone weighed down by fear, responsibility, and complicated choices. "I can see you're protecting something," she said quietly. "But hiding truth only makes the world heavier." For a moment, the room was still. Instead of forcing her way into his thoughts, Naruko gently shared a vision, not of commands or control, but of understanding. It was like showing a mirror made of memories, reflecting choices and their consequences, allowing truth to speak for itself. The man's expression shifted. His guarded posture loosened slightly as he processed what he saw. The tension in the room eased, like a tightly wound thread finally relaxing. "You want the Hokage," he said slowly, "but not for the reason I expected." Naruko nodded. "I want to make sure he's safe. That everyone is safe. If there's danger, I want to help stop it without causing harm." After a pause, the man leaned back in his chair. "The Hokage is not here. He is in a secure location outside the village, ensuring protection for something important." Naruko listened carefully. "Thank you," she said sincerely. The man studied her for a moment longer. "You could have forced your way through," he admitted. "But you didn't." Naruko turned slightly toward the door. "Force isn't the only way forward." With that, she stepped back into the corridor, the atmosphere behind her no longer tense, but thoughtful, like two perspectives quietly beginning to understand each other. And then Naruko vanished from the office, not in a flash of destruction, but like a fading ripple of light, continuing her journey toward the truth she sought. Miles away, Konoha. Tobi arrived in Konoha at a moment when the village was unusually still, as if even the wind was careful not to disturb what was happening inside the healing room. Through quiet movement and careful timing, he slipped past the outer guards without drawing attention. Inside, lantern light glowed softly over a scene filled with both relief and exhaustion. Kushina Uzumaki had just welcomed her newborn daughter into the world. "Her name will be Naruko," Kushina said gently, her voice tired but full of warmth. In her arms, little Naruko Uzumaki let out a small, determined cry, as if announcing her arrival to the entire world. Tobi paused at a distance, observing. He had not come to cause harm. Rather, he had come because he had heard something unusual. An ancient protective seal surrounding the chakra of the nine-tailed fox spirit within Kushina had grown unstable during childbirth. His purpose was to understand, not to destroy. But what he saw surprised him. Instead of weakness, he sensed remarkable strength. Kushina, despite her exhaustion, was carefully maintaining a complex chakra barrier within her inner spiritual space. It appeared as a vast, glowing realm where a great nine-tailed fox spirit rested behind immense, flowing chains of light. Yet the spirit did not feel cruel or violent, only powerful, like a storm contained safely within the sky. Tobi's expression shifted slightly behind his mask. "This is far more stable than I expected," he said quietly. Kushina, sensing the presence of an outsider within her inner awareness, straightened with determination. Who are you, and why are you here? Toby did not answer with threats or force. Instead, he stepped forward calmly within the spiritual space, his voice steady. I came to understand the condition of the seal. Nothing more. The great fox spirit opened one eye, studying him carefully. Strange visitor. You carry caution in your steps. Kushina tightened her focus, but there was no hostility in her stance, only protective care for her newborn daughter outside this inner world. Naruko's safety is all that matters to me. At the mention of the child, Toby's attention softened slightly. Even from within this spiritual space, he could sense the quiet new life she represented, small, bright, and full of possibility. A new voice gently joined the moment. You should not be here without warning, said Minato Namikaze, appearing in the spiritual space with calm authority. Yet his eyes carried understanding rather than anger. But I can sense you are not here as an enemy. Toby met his gaze. For a brief moment, something like recognition passed between them, history, memories, and paths that had once crossed long ago. I am only a traveler observing the balance of power within this seal, Toby said carefully. It is more stable than even I anticipated. Minato looked toward Kushina and then the great fox spirit, and finally nodded. Then you have your answer. This seal is not only power, it is trust, shared between lives. The fox spirit settled, as if agreeing in its own quiet way. Kushina relaxed slightly, though her protective presence remained strong and steady. Toby lowered his gaze for a moment, as though considering something unseen. Outside this inner world, Naruko's soft cries echoed faintly, grounding everything in something simple and real, a child beginning her life. I see, Toby said at last. Then there is nothing to correct here. Minato watched him carefully. And you? What will you do now? Toby turned away slightly, as if already stepping back toward the path he had come from. Continue forward, he replied. As all travelers do. Without disturbance, without conflict, his presence began to fade from the spiritual space like mist dispersing in morning light. Before he disappeared completely, he spoke one final time, quiet, almost reflective. Take care of her. She will be important to many lives, in ways none of us can fully understand yet. Then he was gone. In the healing room, Naruko Uzumaki rested peacefully in her mother's arms, unaware of the distant conversations that had briefly touched her world. Outside, the village of Konoha remained calm beneath the sky, as if quietly welcoming the beginning of a new story. In a quiet training sanctuary beyond the ordinary world, the air shimmered softly with traces of practiced chakra. This was a place where powerful techniques were not used for harm, but for understanding, balance, and protection. Toby collapsed gently onto one knee as he returned from a deep training exercise, breathing in slow, steady rhythms. His hands touched the smooth stone floor as if confirming that he was truly back. Despite his exhaustion, a bright, proud smile spread across his face. I did it, he said quietly, his voice full of relief. I completed the exercise. From across the hall, Master Madara stood with calm authority, watching with steady eyes. He was no conqueror in this telling of the world, but a wise and disciplined teacher who guided gifted students in mastering space and time chakra arts. You've returned, he said simply. Toby looked up at him with admiration. Master, I succeeded. I guided the nine-tailed fox spirit safely through the illusion trial and placed it into the peaceful reflection realm. It is resting there now, unharmed and calm. He had expected praise or excitement, perhaps even a rare smile. Instead, Madara only nodded with quiet approval. Good. I expected nothing less from my most dedicated student. Those words alone filled Toby with warmth. He had once believed he was clumsy and forgettable, but under Madara's guidance, he had grown confident and capable. Every challenge here was meant to refine skill, patience, and understanding, not to destroy anything, but to learn control over powerful forces. Madara glanced at him thoughtfully. And your mask? Toby lowered his head slightly, a little embarrassed. During the illusion exercise, I pushed myself too far. My focus slipped, and the reflection barrier broke for a moment. I'm sorry, Master. Madara raised a hand, dismissing the worry with calm ease. Do not apologize. These trials are meant for learning. What matters is that you brought balance back in time. Toby exhaled in relief. Even mistakes here were treated as part of growth. Madara then stepped closer, his presence steady and reassuring. Are you able to open a portal again? I wish to review the nine-tailed fox spirit's condition in the reflection realm. Toby straightened immediately. Despite his fatigue, determination lit his eyes. Yes, Master. I can open the passage. He focused deeply, allowing his chakra to flow in careful, controlled patterns. Space responded like rippling water, forming a gentle circular gateway of light rather than darkness. It was a refined technique he had been practicing for months. Good, Madara said quietly. Focus on precision. Not force. With a final steady breath, Toby completed the technique. Portal open, he announced. Madara nodded once and stepped through the shimmering passage, entering the peaceful reflection realm where chakra spirits and illusions took form in safe, dreamlike harmony. Toby remained behind, resting on the stone floor as he recovered his strength. The effort always left him drained, but it was a satisfying kind of exhaustion, the kind that came from progress. Minutes passed like drifting clouds. When Madara returned, the portal softened and closed behind him like mist dissolving into air. He looked calm, thoughtful, and slightly impressed. The nine-tailed fox spirit is stable, he said. You handled the exercise well, Toby. Toby let out a relieved breath. I was worried I made too many mistakes. You didn't, Madara replied. You adapted. That is what matters most. A faint, rare approval warmed his voice. You are growing beyond my expectations. Toby felt a quiet pride bloom in his chest. Praise from Madara was never given lightly. Thank you, Master, he said sincerely. Madara turned toward the exit of the sanctuary, his long cloak moving softly with his steps. Toby, he said over his shoulder, the next stage of your training will require patience and courage. Not power. Remember that. Toby nodded firmly. I will remember. As Madara walked away, the sanctuary grew peaceful again. Toby sat in silence for a moment, listening to the soft hum of chakra in the air. Far beyond the walls of the training hall, a young chakra guardian named Naruko watched the flow of energy in the world with bright, thoughtful eyes. She had heard of the training sanctuary and the careful work being done there to keep powerful spirit beings safe and understood. Naruko believed that every being, no matter how large or mysterious, could find harmony through kindness and patience. She smiled gently to herself and continued her journey, ready to learn more about the world and the many ways people protected balance within it. And in the quiet sanctuary, training continued, not as a path of conflict, but as a path toward understanding, growth, and peace. Konoha, 3rd Hokage. He had truly hoped that he would never have to wear his old battle armor again in his lifetime. Hiruzen Sarutobi finished fastening the last part of his protective gear just as a ninja hurried into his office, breathless but relieved to have reached him. Lord Third. The ninja said, pausing to catch her breath. A massive nine-tailed fox spirit has appeared within the village. It's causing a huge chakra storm, and the 4th Hokage is nowhere to be found. Hiruzen's expression turned serious, but calm. He had already felt the strange shift in the village's energy, like a storm gathering in the sky before rain. I understand, he said firmly. Tell the head ninja to guide the Jonin and Anbu to contain the disturbance. The Chunin and Jinan must focus on helping civilians reach safety. I will go myself to stabilize the situation. Go now. Yes, sir. The ninja replied, then quickly left. Hiruzen stepped out onto the roof and looked across the village. The sky shimmered with swirling red and violet chakra, like a living aurora. At the center of it all was the great nine-tailed fox spirit, not truly destructive, but overwhelmed, its immense energy spilling outward like waves in the wind. And there was something else. A calm but unusual presence nearby. As if someone was gently guiding the flow of that enormous power. Without hesitation, Hiruzen moved toward it. Dash. At the edge of the village, a young girl named Naruko stood on a safe elevated rooftop with the help of protective ninjas around her. She had bright, attentive eyes and a quiet strength that even she did not fully understand yet. Naruko watched the glowing fox spirit in the distance. Instead of fear, she felt something closer to sadness, like the spirit was lost and calling out without words. I can feel it, Naruko said softly. It's not trying to hurt anyone. It's just overwhelmed. A nearby shinobi glanced at her in surprise. You can sense it that clearly? Naruko nodded gently. She's like a big spirit that doesn't know where to put all her feelings. Dash. Hiruzen soon arrived nearby, meeting with trusted ninja who were coordinating calm evacuation efforts and protective barriers around the village. Lord Third, one of them reported, we are focusing on keeping everyone safe and helping the fox spirit settle. But there's also a strange figure near the chakra flow, watching it closely. Hiruzen narrowed his eyes slightly. A watcher? He looked toward the glowing horizon again. There, faintly, was a distant silhouette observing the swirling energy, quiet, unmoving, as though studying a great mystery rather than causing harm. Hiruzen stepped forward and raised his staff, which responded not as a weapon, but as a channel for his energy. He gently pressed his chakra into it, and the staff expanded into a wide, glowing barrier ring that spread across the sky like a protective dome. Instead of force, it carried balance. The swirling chakra in the air began to slow, like waves calming after a storm. The nine-tailed fox spirit paused, its glowing form easing as the barrier guided its energy into a steadier rhythm. From below, villagers watching from safe zones began to see the sky brighten rather than darken. "It's stabilizing," someone whispered in relief. Naruko stepped forward slightly on the rooftop, her hands lightly raised as if she were instinctively responding to the energy around her. "I think I can help her understand," she said. Before anyone could stop her, Naruko closed her eyes and focused, not with force, but with empathy. A soft glow surrounded her, gentle and warm, like sunlight through morning mist. The fox spirit in the sky slowly turned its great head toward her. For a moment, everything became still. The mysterious observer in the distance tilted his head slightly, as if recognizing something important unfolding. Hiruzen noticed the change as well. "Interesting," he murmured. "The balance is shifting." Naruko opened her eyes again, calm and steady. "It's okay," she whispered toward the sky. "You're not alone. You don't have to carry everything by yourself." The glowing nine-tailed fox spirit gradually began to settle, its chakra smoothing into soft light that drifted upward like lanterns into the night sky. The village, once filled with confusion, now watched in quiet wonder. And for the first time that day, peace began to return. Before the great fox spirit could reach the village walls, a vast cloud of swirling smoke burst open in the sky. From it descended Gamabunta, the great toad summon, landing firmly with a powerful but controlled impact that shook the ground rather than harmed it. Standing confidently upon Gamabunta's head was the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, his presence calm and focused. Relief spread through the nearby shinobi, he had arrived in time. In a flash of golden light, Minato and the enormous fox spirit vanished together. It was the flying thunder god technique, moving them far away from the village to a safer place. For a brief moment, some shinobi cheered, believing the danger had passed. But the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, remained watchful. Something important was still unfolding. Moments later, a distant burst of light lit up the horizon. It was not destruction, but a powerful surge of sealing energy spreading gently across the land like ripples in water. Hiruzen immediately gave orders. "Gather a protection squad. We go at once. Minato is doing something extraordinary, and we must ensure everyone's safety." When they arrived, they found a vast, shimmering barrier surrounding a wide clearing. It was not meant to trap in fear, but to protect what was happening inside. Only a few figures could be seen through the glowing field. Inside stood Kushina Uzumaki, her strength focused and steady as she helped guide a powerful, swirling fox spirit of immense chakra. Beside her was Minato Namikaze, forming precise hand seals with deep concentration. "This is a sealing technique unlike any other," Hiruzen murmured, realizing the truth. "He is transforming the spirit's power into something that can be safely carried." The fox spirit's energy slowly softened, flowing like golden wind toward Minato's technique. The overwhelming force gradually became calm, as if being gently guided into a new form. Minato's expression showed both effort and care, as though he was giving everything he had to complete something very important. Then, within the center of the glowing seal, a small cradle of light appeared. Inside it was a newborn baby girl. "She's here," one of the shinobi whispered. The child had soft blonde hair and tiny hands curled peacefully as she cried softly from the sudden change in surroundings. Kushina and Minato both looked at her with deep love and relief. "Naruko," Minato said gently, as if the name had always existed. "That will be her name." The remaining chakra settled calmly into a protective seal upon Naruko's stomach, not as a burden, but as a gentle guardian spirit bound to keep her safe and give her strength throughout her life. When the barrier faded, silence returned to the clearing. Hiruzen stepped forward with the others and saw the peaceful scene, Kushina and Minato resting nearby, exhausted but smiling, and baby Naruko safe within the center of it all. The great fox spirit was no longer raging. Its energy had been transformed into something stable and protective, woven into the seal that would watch over the child. As Hiruzen knelt beside Naruko, the baby slowly stopped crying and blinked up at him. For a brief moment, a faint, unusual shimmer flickered in her eyes, like a reflection of distant starlight, before returning to soft, ordinary blue. Hiruzen studied the seal carefully. It was unlike anything he had seen, complex yet harmonious, as though it had been designed not to imprison, but to unite. This child, he said quietly, carries a power meant not for destruction, but for protection. Naruko reached out with tiny fingers, grasping at the air as if greeting the world itself. Around her, the wind felt calmer, the land quieter, as though something great and gentle had just begun. Dear YouTube family. That's all for now. Thanks for watching and spending your time here. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the content grow and reach more people. See you in the next video. Regards. Anime Octopus.